Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on Fancy Football Scout. As you can see, a bit of change of scenery this time round. I'm in my car. I'm currently in a car park outside IKEA. But nonetheless, we're here on a Sunday evening and Gianni and I are going to go through how our teams are doing in Game Week 23 and have a look forward going into the Double Game Week 24. Gianni, how are we?
Very well, mate. And you know what? Your picture and your audio is really good considering you're in a car. So nice, mate. Your audio's great. So yeah, it's nice to chat, and thank you for making the effort to still do it, even though you're in Dublin in a car park at IKEA. So yeah, what made you choose IKEA?
So this year I'm after moving into a new house. A lot of work to be done, but I just wanted to have a look a bit at some furniture, and no better place than IKEA. I've never been, and it's so nice. It's fucking massive.
Yeah, mate. When I said what made you choose IKEA, I didn't mean for your furniture choices. I meant for your car park of choice. But no, also for furniture, you're right, mate. Have you been in there yet? Have you been inside?
Man, it's
You're
so
gonna love
cheap.
it.
Yeah, no, it's deadly, and like I'm getting older. It's so weird because I'm still
You get
fairly young.
enjoyment out of
Yeah, no,
furniture.
I do. I really do. I've gone in big into cooking as well. So, um, I don't know why I chose this car pack. I wish I had a bit more battery. That's one thing. My battery's running a bit low on the laptop, so we might have to cut this stream a bit earlier. But nonetheless, Gianni and I will try cover as much as possible. So, Gianni, I think we should go straight into it and speak a small bit about Liverpool. And I made one transfer this game week, and that was my boy Cody Gakpo for Dominic Solanke. Speak to me.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were going to do that. I'm so glad you did, because we both said this time last week. And on Sundays, it's often too soon to commit to a transfer. But more often than not, the guy we talk about on a Sunday is the guy we actually end up bringing in. Like, not a huge amount changes through the week. And I think for you and I, we were always going to make that move. So yeah, we both brought in Gakpo, which was brilliant because you had Solanke and I had Jackson. We had roots to him. There was a lot of managers out there that probably had a front three of Isak, Chris Wood, and then maybe like an enabler like a João Pedro or Jimenez, and they would struggle to reach Gakpo because I think you're probably not selling Chris Wood to Gakpo this week, or even last week. He's been too good for you to probably want to bin him off. So in a way, it was a nice way of this weekend for you and I and loads of people watching to make up some points on the Chris Wood owners, because the Chris Wood owners have been absolutely laughing at us for a very long time. It's likely you don't own Gakpo and Wood. There will be some out there that do own both, but most own one or the other.
Yeah, I agree. Lovely to pick up 16 points. One thing I wanted to ask you is it a small bit too late to bring in a Gakpo now that you've missed the lovely Ipswich at home fixture? That's one thing. How many minutes do you project him to get in the double game week? And also, I don't own Alexander Isak, so it was nice to have a striker to get me some sort of points. I also had João Pedro who blanked, and I've Ollie Watkins yet to play, so hopefully Watkins can make up some sort of points in comparison to Isak.
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, he's got you close in recent weeks and some weeks, but I did think of you when the Isak goals went in early, and he could have had a first half hat trick. But no, you make a good point on Gakpo. Do you think it's too late? I don't. I think you could still make that move this week and be rewarded. He'll start both in the double, I believe, because there's the Plymouth game before the second game in the double. That's his rest. He's been too good to drop. He started now the last 11 Premier League games. Like, I am keeping count, don't you worry. So it's not too late to buy him. I did say all week last week, don't wait for the double. You get Ipswich at home if you go a week early. And I do feel like a lot that went Gakpo have been rewarded. A lot that can't go Gakpo or didn't go Gakpo probably can't go there now because they probably bought a Liverpool defender. So they might already have triple Liverpool. So if you do have double Liverpool and you don't have Gakpo, yes, still buy him this week.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's fair to say Gakpo is still a good buy. But also Diaz, another start for Diaz, which I thought was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I know a lot of people were hinting at Darwin starting the leakers, and of course it was wrong. What did you make of that, Gianni? Did you get any sympathy for those trying to leak it?
I thought it was quite funny that so many were keen to jump on a really reliable source of football team leaks that we've been using for the last couple of years in FPL. Like, FPL Tony's tweets are something the vast majority of FPL Twitter have responded to in terms of their own team at times. Like, he's helped us out. So getting one wrong, I was surprised so many wanted to point the finger. And obviously, it wasn't his team. He's well known for a City ITK, and I think it was leaked to a few Liverpool leakers, and they got it wrong. Maybe Arne Slot's wise to that. Fair play if he is. I've never someone to champion leaks, but they are a part of the game. We have to accept that they're there. Would I prefer to see the FPL deadline right up until kickoff and we all get team news? Yeah, I would. I've said that for years, but it is what it is. And yeah, it was wrong this time round. But Luis Diaz, yes, he started again, didn't have the best of games, and he was poor again in the Champions League on Tuesday night. As soon as Jota's back, Diaz isn't going to be first choice down the middle. But look, Darwin's not done enough consistently to have that shirt either. I think Diaz is a risk going into the double, though. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gakpo's probably the safest, and it's funny, it only took me, Gianni, 10 weeks to realise that. Anyway, moving on from that, let me pull up my team for Game Week 23. And apologies if I am looking down. My laptop is in front of me, so it is a small bit more awkward to work around, but I'm currently on 61 points, having a decent game week considering I don't have Alexander Isak. Nice double Arsenal clean sheet at the back, a nice assist from Trent, still Daniel Munoz, Eze and Watkins yet to play. Of course, I captained Salah for his goal like everyone else. Gordon with a nice assist, Palmer, Blanken, Gakpo like we spoke about, and a yellow card and another poor performance from João Pedro.
Yeah, he's your only real poor performance, though. I must say, Palmer, but everyone had him. Your double Arsenal clean sheet came through for you. They've not kept a clean sheet in the 4 games before that, so you needed that, and fair play for sticking with it, because it was a good fixture, But a lot I saw selling Arsenal defenders, or a lot that I would say Saliba or Raya were selling to Alisson or a Liverpool defender. So well done for sticking with that, because yeah, you've been heavily rewarded. Raya getting the 3 bonus is absolutely massive. So, and I think Saliba also got the 9. So yeah, man, it was great. And look, Trent hit the crossbar or the post. It was at the angle of the goal and had a late clean sheet wipeout. So Trent owners are a tad unlucky as well. But you could argue you're a bit unlucky with Gordon. Like, Gordon should have had more than
Absolutely.
5. He isn't covering Isak at the moment, but he's getting close in terms of eye test.
Yeah, I would just imagine where I'd be now, Gianni. I know it's not how it works, but imagine just Alexander Isak didn't exist. I'd be 17 points up every single week and I'd be seeing a massive green. But again, obviously, that's just not how the game works. And hopefully Ollie Watkins can pick me up some sort of points. I'm on a nice little green arrow as it stands. I'd love to have to rank this game week, though. Don't know how realistic that is without a Bruno Fernandes and Ahmed Diallo. Still a lot of players I feel yet to play, and of course I've benched Morgan Rogers now, and he could do quite well versus West Ham. So I think a decent week for me. Hopefully finish it on a green, and with no Isak, I can't complain, can I?
No, I don't think you can. Your weekly transfer was brilliant, and you've got 3 to play. I did a poll on my YouTube channel this morning. How many players do you have left to play? And the most common response was actually 2. So to have 3 left to play, you're probably slightly up on the average. Like, if we look at the games yesterday, it was really popular FPL teams in action yesterday. Sunday's games aren't so exciting. We've got comments in the chat. Chai's being kidnapped and tied up and forced to confess about his team. Is Chai in the back of his car? Yeah, you are in the car. But also, my question to you, Chai, does the sun set at 1 p.m. in Ireland? Because it looks very dark.
Oh, like I tried to have my car light on, and I don't know why, unless my battery's dead. I don't know why it's not turning on.
You look great still, mate.
Thank you. That's all that matters, Johnny. That's all I needed to hear. But no, I have been kidnapped by the Fantasy Football Scout officials, and FPL terrors are making me say good things. So, I'm just, like I said at the start of the stream, currently in Dublin, in a car park, doing everything I can to be here on a Sunday stream. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, hit that like button for us. We really appreciate it here on Scout. And I hope you've been following the journey all season. We've done 23 of these Sunday vids so far, and still a good few to go, and hopefully the rank gets a bit better. We're currently sitting at 300k and I have all of my chips. And on that note, let me pull up my Game Week 24 team, Gianni. What you'll see this week is something a bit different compared to other managers, and that's the triple captaincy on Mohamed Salah.
I reckon most will do that, right? If you've still got your triple captain, I think you've got to do it. I think you've got to do it. It makes sense to me, mate. Like, what's your thinking there? Because I think if you've got your triple captain, you've got to play it.
Yeah, the thinking here is actually the opposite, and it's not much thinking. Just don't overthink it, and putting on Mo Salah in a double game week, which I don't think is a bad double at all. Sure, Bournemouth have been very, very good, don't get me wrong, but it's Liverpool we're talking about, and you wouldn't be surprised if they net a few past them. So I know it is a away fixture, and we've just seen Bournemouth be on fire last game week again, which is something we definitely need to talk about going forward. But I'm more than happy to put the armband on them, and also I'm already tripled out of Liverpool to bring in Arnie Slot if I wanted to use the assistant manager. Another manager of a potential option is, of course, David Moyes' Everton, but it's not for me, and I'd rather wait and have a bit more excitement in later in the season.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. If you had used your triple captain, like me, and like quite a lot watching, to be fair, like I think the vast majority haven't used it, but there's still a lot that went. Salah, was it against Ipswich, and like me, Haaland versus Southampton. What would you do? Would you be looking at assistant manager chip on a Moyes or a Slot, or would you be happy just leaving 24 as a week where you don't use a chip?
Yeah, I think I would rather wait for sure. Again, it's how unknown the chip is. I want to see people use it first, and then kind of have a better understanding on when I want to use it, especially when we know we have double game weeks coming up and blanks. I feel like you can definitely manage it a bit better later in the season, especially if you do end up wildcarding. I know it's nothing to do with it, but you'll understand the structure later in the season, how it'll look, and have a better idea where you want to play it, I suppose. I feel like it's very fresh because we just have a double, and it's the first week where you can play it. So I feel like a lot of people are eager to use it, but I'm more than happy to just wait.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm tempted on Moyes, but I'm not committing. I'm only tempted because I think he beats Leicester, and I think the Liverpool game at Goodison, there is a chance if he gets a draw. And if he gets a draw, it's 8 points with the bonus. And obviously it's a double game week and I don't have triple captain. In game week 25, there's also Fulham versus Forest. If I think that's going to be a 5-point table gap, depending on what happens in today's games, it should be. But again, I could see Fulham beating Forest at the Cottage on my assistant manager. But at the same time, I look ahead to game week 29 and think I'm going to need transfers if I don't free hit in the blank game week 29. So yeah, I'm still on the fence on that one. I'm going to give it some time today. And I also want to watch teams like Leicester. Leicester play Spurs today, and I want to see how bad they are. You know, if I feel confident Everton beat Leicester, then even more reason to go there. By the way, the Spurs team news is James Maddison still doesn't start for... Oh, in fact, he's not on the bench. I guess he's injured.
What?
Maddison's not in the 11.
Can you read out the lineup for me real quick?
Yeah, so Kinski, Pedro Porro, Dragusin, Davies at centre-back. So Davies, Dragusin... Oh, sorry, Archie Gray at centre-back, Davies left-back. Bentancur with Begval and Sarr in the middle. And then Kulu, Richarlison and Son. So Kulu front three.
What? Where's Maddison? Where's going
Maddison?
on?
Basuma's on the bench as well.
What I did see today is Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero also back in training. I'd imagine they'd try to keep him fit for the 6th of Feb versus Liverpool, of course, in the Cup, which is very, very important for us. We know Ange
True, that's semi-final, and that's important for the blank in 29 as well, isn't it? Like, do you fancy Spurs in that? Because the bookies have it kind of close.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the FPL community. The noise in the community is that Liverpool are going to already automatically through to the next round, and I think if it wasn't a Carabao Cup game, I would agree. But it's the magic of the Cup, and I feel like anything can happen. I'd be a bit more positive if you told me that Romero and Van der Ven are going to play. Again, I don't know how likely that is. I say there is a chance, but I want to say 1-0 lead. Liverpool always beat us at Anfield. Always beat us. So I'm not filled with much hope, I'll be honest.
Mate, you're right about the FPL community all assuming Liverpool will win. The bookies have it really tight. I was looking at the odds this morning, and and this matters because, guys, game week 29 will see two blank fixtures, and it's all on what happens in those two EFL semi-finals. So the games that are in doubt, let me run through the odds. Arsenal versus Chelsea, that's 15% likely to blank based on the bookies odds, because they think that Newcastle will beat Arsenal. Okay, and they've taken a good, I think it's a 2-goal lead, and they've got the home fixture. That means Newcastle versus Palace is 85% likely to blank, the other flip side of that. So we can assume Newcastle Palace will be a blank. We all have Newcastle and Palace players as well. The other two fixtures are really tight. Fulham versus Spurs is 42% likely to blank, and Villa versus Liverpool 58%. So the bookies are saying there's a 58% chance Liverpool beat Spurs. That's really tight. There's a proper tight contest. So yeah, you're right. The FPL community are all going Villa Liverpool will definitely be a blank. Liverpool will go to Spurs, will beat Spurs comfortably. The bookies don't think so. They've got it 42-58.
That's really, really interesting. Okay, how do you see that game going, Gianni? Do you think it depends heavily on Spurs' lineup? Again, going to Anfield is probably the worst place you can go in the league.
Yeah. What was the score in the first leg?
1-0.
Yeah. It's good. You got the clean sheet, didn't you? It's funny, like, no one keeps a clean sheet versus Liverpool, but it is the magic of the cup.
You know what I mean?
Both
if it wasn't
teams
the
are going
cup,
to be
Gianni.
full strength. Yeah. Well, both teams will be full strength in that one, because Liverpool, the game after that for Liverpool was Plymouth, not a Premier League game. It's Plymouth in the FA Cup. So they can afford to go full strength and then rest for Plymouth. If it was like Premier League game, EFL Cup semi-final, Premier League game for Liverpool, you might think they'd even rotate for a semi-final in the EFL Cup, but they won't, because it's Plymouth. So Liverpool, I think probably I would say edge it, but I have fond memories of Spurs beating teams like City in domestic cup competitions in not that long ago, and obviously what they did to Liverpool at home was also impressive. So yeah, I'd say that's a proper coin toss.
And United in the cup also.
Yeah,
it is. That's the thing. Right now we're talking about Spurs beating these type of teams. But today at 2:00, it's 15th place Spurs versus 17th place Leicester. So it's a weird season. If you told me we win a trophy at the end of it and we're 10th, I'd snatch your arm off for sure. But it's such an odd season. Let me run through my team real quick, because again, this is what this is about, looking at my team every single week. So I feel like, Gianni, my team is set up really, really well this week. I had thought it was decently set up last week, but it looks even better this week. So we've got Ray on goal with a City fixture I don't enjoy at all, but I don't see myself switching them out, especially with the decent fixtures for Ray to come up. We've got Trent with the double, Mikalenko with the double, Daniel Munoz with United. And then 4 in the middle with Rodgers, Mohamed Salah with the triple captaincy, Gordon and Palmer, and then 3 up top in Gakpo, Watkins, João Pedro. And I have a nice little tidy bench in Eze, Gabriel and Greaves. I suppose the first question I'd ask you, Gianni, I have 3 free transfers, 0 in the bank. It's a really nice position to be in. I'm very flexible for the weeks to come, or even if I wanted to be a bit greedy this week. The one move I see, in my opinion, is potentially moving on Pedro for Everton forward with DCL out. There's one man on my mind. Again, I feel like that Leicester at home, that's the only fixture you'd expect anything from. Other than that, it might be 4 points if he blanks. Is it worth a transfer?
I don't know. Like I keep looking at João Pedro as a standalone FPL pick and go, he's fine.
Yeah,
he's not great, but he's fine. He plays 90, takes pens, he plays for a good attacking team. The fixtures are fine, and he's cheap. But we keep looking at his points, going, he's underwhelmed. And again yesterday, like, I expected something against Everton at home. Going to Forest is tough, so I don't mind you making a transfer. But what are you thinking and die then?
Yeah.
Because you go to a double Everton, you go to an Everton attacker, would you?
Not that I'd want to, but another way I look at it is, like, I'll be more than happy benching him every single week, because I have a full stack.
You don't want to be benching Eze much, do you?
Exactly.
Or Rodgers,
so it would actually make some decisions going forward easier for me, I would say. Again, he is cheap enough. He's 0.2 less than João Pedro, I believe. Also on penalties, so I mean, this David Moyes' Everton team looks much better from an attacking point of view. They generated a lot of chances versus Spurs. Um, and a double fixture, João Pedro, I'm not expecting too much, to be honest, against Forest, is it? Yeah, no, it's definitely on my mind. Other than that, what do you think of benching Eze for Rodgers?
Oh, I feel like Eze is a sort of player that, because he's kind of big fish, small pond, and I haven't got the data to back this up because I don't own Eze, so I've not looked into it. But I feel like Eze is the sort of player that when he plays against the top teams, it's his chance to impress because he knows teams like Man United will have an interest in him. I'm not saying they're scouting him straight away, but they'll have an interest, and it's his chance to show other big teams that he can step up and go to Old Trafford and be put in a player of the match performance. And Eze clearly is going to be heavily linked with a move again this summer, and it will be teams of Man United's caliber looking at him. And I feel like that's a big game for Palace and for Eze. So he's a very dangerous benching. But Rodgers, again, like, how many times this season have we seen Rodgers go? We've seen, I think, a couple of times he's gone away from home. He's been on everyone's bench and he's come up with a double-digit return. A really dangerous player to bench at the same time because he's effectively a front two. But you do have Watkins. You have already got, good attacking cover in Aston Villa. I guess you need to see a little bit more from Villa. See how they play today before you make that call. You might see Eze bang and Villa and Rodgers look poor again, and you go, actually, I'll swap that round. But you might just have to go on what you see in Sunday's games.
Yeah, I agree. United is such a weird fixture. Like, I don't know how to feel with it, to be honest.
I know it used to be everyone's cup final, didn't it, going to Old Trafford? I think it's lost that now, but it's still, for players of Eze's age, they grew up with Man United being, a top team.
Yeah, but it's just the Wolves that kind of tops it for me. I feel like Villa could do quite well, more so than Eze, I suppose. But yeah,
fancy more goals for Villa than you do for Palace. Yeah, I reckon that's probably fair.
I think so. Okay, so Gianni, of course, the triple R man. Let's speak about it. Do you like it?
Yeah, man. Like, if I had it, I'd be absolutely using it this week. It's a no-brainer for me. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not the best two fixtures, but they're a double for the game's best player. I do think going to Bournemouth and going to Everton, I don't actually see Liverpool winning those games to like 2-3 goals. I think they'll win by 1 or 2 goals in those games. If they win, they could see them drawing against Bournemouth. Like, you wouldn't put it past Bournemouth to get a 1-0 draw. But in that game week, how many goals do Liverpool score across Bournemouth and Everton? I'm going to say they score 4 goals. If they score 4 goals, I'm going to say Salah is involved in at least 2 of them. You take that, and you're getting the potential for way more than 4 goals. Guys, let us know. Give us a number in the chat. How many did Liverpool score across those 2 fixtures? I think many will say perhaps 5. Maybe 4 is being a little bit mean. But how many did Liverpool score? I don't think many are going to say 8 or 7, which, if Mo Salah was playing Leicester and Southampton, you'd be saying 7 or 8. So it's not the best double, but it's the best time to use it. Liverpool probably do get a double game week if they beat Spurs and get to the EFL Cup final. The blanks caused in 29 will double in 33. 33, I think Liverpool play Leicester, plus they'll get that rearranged fixture. So it could be an awesome matchup for Liverpool. Like, it would be Leicester and Aston Villa. That's a better double in 33, but in 33 you're going to want to use other chips. So I think this is the best time to use it.
Yeah, love that. I agree for sure. I think also at this point in the season though, triple captain is one that you can kind of play whenever you want. It's a bit more flexible, and I'm just kind of sick of looking at it after everyone used it in game week. What was it, 2 or 4 on Haaland against Ipswich? Were you one of them?
Yeah, I went 6 against Southampton.
6, sorry, yeah.
But no, you're right. A lot did. I think go Ipswich, and I think quite a lot went Salah in a single game week as well. I think Salah had Ipswich in a single. Quite a few did. Maybe it was around 12 or something.
So if you're asking me, I'd be happy with a goal and an assist, to be honest, minimum. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you consider bonus, which he usually is on after a return, more than happy with that, I think.
Oh yeah, if he gets even 1 bonus in one and 2 in another, like 3 bonus points, a goal, an assist, maybe a clean sheet point and 4 appearance points, you're laughing. That's great.
Yeah, I completely agree. And hopefully, so I'm currently sitting at 300k, like I said. bring me back up to where the managers that have used that chip, maybe around 200k, hopefully. Still plenty to play for. I feel like I'm well set up for this week and the following week.
Yeah.
Any other moves?
You don't need to make a transfer then.
That's
like,
what I mean.
Other than the João Pedro move to an Everton forward, is there anything else you're thinking? Like, what my question to you with 3 free moves, is there any way you can reach Isak? Like, obviously Watkins out to Isak, but if you don't want to sell Watkins, can you make João Pedro Isak? Like, is there a big downgrade you can make elsewhere? Would you consider selling, I don't know, Gordon to a Cliver, or Palmer? I don't think you're going to. I would never say sell Palmer. He's got Leicester and Southampton in a few weeks. But can you get Isak in this team?
I think, Gianni, like at this point, I've been fighting.
You've made your bed.
Yeah, I think it's just the price rises. Have Gordon in place to try and nullify anything too crazy. You'd like to think he's involved if Isak is banging him in. Look, it was a mistake. And I think I just have to plan around the mistake now than try chase it. Isak, he's the best striker in the league, and said it for a few weeks now. But I just feel like I need to just stick to my guns and use these transfers to plan around how Game Week 29 looks, and hopefully he dies down a small bit. That's all I can hope for. Every week I'm just hoping Isak doesn't do anything too crazy, and every single week he does, and I'm still managing to not fall too far behind. So I just need a week in which Isak blanks, I think, and my team is well set up otherwise.
Yeah, no, you're in great shape, and fair play for, like, it was a brave call to go with that Isak. You covered it a bit with Gordon, but yeah, you've gone Watkins, and look, Watkins, we're recording this before Villa play, but he could go and bag a hat trick today. Who knows? So yeah, Everton. Let's just discuss the idea of having more than Mikalenko in anyone's team. I don't like the idea of buying too many Everton players unless you've got 3 or 4 transfers already banked, because I feel like you, one, have to hide them on your bench moving forward, or 2, you're going to have to start them moving forward, right? They're your 2 options if you've got an Everton player, or 3, you've got to sell them straight away. So effectively, you're using 2 transfers to bring in 1 Everton player if you think come game week 25, 26, you're selling them. They don't have great fixtures. Players like Mikalenko can be hidden on your bench. Players like Pickford probably can't be. You mention a forward like Ndai. For you actually can hide him on your bench because you've got a really strong squad. But there's a lot of managers out there who don't have a great 8th attacker, and they would have to play an Ndai every week. So what's your approach with Everton, like, and how do we rank their assets? I think Mikalenko's a perfectly good buy because he's cheap and you can hide him. It's worth noting in game week 29, when we know it'll be a blank game week, Everton do have a fixture, and they do have West Ham at home. So that is a fixture all your Everton players can come off your bench and start. It's a good one. So yeah, how do you feel about Everton and buying them?
Yeah, I'm just such a greedy manager. I think the rule of thumb
is, that double, want a bit
yeah,
of it.
You see the doubles, and you never know what can happen in a Merseyside derby. I suppose Liverpool always get the better of them, but we've seen Liverpool be able to concede the odd goal against random teams. So I actually don't mind the idea of Ndai. I think if I didn't have a Mikalenko, I'd be bringing him in only because his price. He's so cheap, and you can throw a Mikalenko on the bench every single week. In comparison to the structure of everyone else's team, everyone has 3 strikers that they want to play. If you bring in an Ndai, you're right. You're more than likely have to play him every single week, which is not ideal. I think I could pass up on Ndai for sure and roll into this game. We can have 4 free transfers next week, which would be really nice because, again, we don't know the structure of 29 just yet, and I think you'll need those transfers if Liverpool are blanking in 29. So I think the safe play is to actually hold off. But again, I have 3 free transfers. Like, I'll have more than enough transfers, I think, going forward into 29. So I think I could end up doing either. If you were to ask me now, I'm probably more likely to bring him in than not. Again, it's just
I think you're right. You've got 3 free transfers. I think that's a big reason to consider it. If you've got 1 free transfer, bringing an Everton player in to then sell them is risky. But you've accumulated so well, and you don't have other fires. You could go there.
Yeah, speak to me about Cole Palmer though. I know you're not one that wants to sell him, and neither am I.
I'm shocked so many are looking to maybe sell. He's still top 3 player in the game. He yes, has had two lots of 2 pointers in 23 and 22. But in game week 21 and game week 20, he did get 10 and 10, and then he had a 2, and before that, he had a 10. So he's had 3 10-point returns in 6 weeks. Like, what are we complaining about? Like 50% of his last 6 games, he's scored a 10-pointer. Oh, and by the way, he's got Southampton and Leicester in February and March. Like in game week 27 and 28, Southampton and Leicester at home. The ceiling for those two fixtures is massive. 27 and 28, like you have to have Palmer in your team for 27 and 28, and to sell him before that just feels silly.
Yeah, I think the only way I'd be selling a Cole Palmer is if I could get to Erling Haaland. To be
How do you
honest,
feel about Haaland then?
yeah, that's what I was going to bring up to you. I don't know how to feel. I feel like if you have him, you have to keep on to him. City look a small bit better, I want to say, for sure. A few new signings now. Marmouche, I thought
Looked good yesterday,
yeah, he
didn't
looked
he?
really good. So definitely some bright signs for City, I would say, in comparison to the rut that they were in. Big win versus Chelsea, of course, which is always the type of result you need when you're performing badly. Those big wins is what elevate you into some consistency, I would say. So
Yeah.
I would say if you have Allen, for sure, hold on to him. I just don't like the idea of getting rid of Palmer for him, for sure, especially when you consider the price discrepancy. Um, yeah, I'll be not even thinking about going anywhere near selling Palmer for sure. I think you're right with those fixtures coming up. He can easily come up with massive hauls in those games, and even in some of the bigger games, you're more than happy to own him. I think a lot of managers seen that City game last week, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just a big fixture, and Chelsea are in a small bit of a rut themselves. But nah, no way I'll be getting rid of him.
Yeah, I do think around that blank in 29, if we're not using free hits in 29, and I don't think I will be using a free hit in 29, it doesn't feel like a great free hit week 29. Yes, we're going to have two big blanks of popular teams, but you look at the matchups, and one fixture that does look quite tasty, for example, free hit, if you're looking at it, Arsenal play Man United, like straight away, you're like, okay, sorry, Arsenal play Chelsea, not a great matchup. Teams like Southampton, who have they got? Well, they got Wolves. Like, do you want to get loads of Wolves players? Probably not. Even on a free hit, they're away. Bournemouth, Brentford, hard to call. Fulham, Spurs, hard to call. Everton, West Ham, hard to call. So I look at that and go, oh, Man City play Brighton in 29, and if you're not free hitting in 29 and you're selling a Mo Salah in 29 because Liverpool haven't got a fixture, yes, you're going to lose team value because you'll want to buy Salah back in a few weeks' time, whatever. You could go without Salah and go Haaland in if Salah doesn't have a fixture. After game week 29, Salah does have Everton at home. And before 29, Salah has Southampton at home. So it would be like you've accumulated loads of funds, you just sell Salah for a week. It gets you Haaland, and then you get Salah back into the team with Haaland, and you have some other way of getting the money. It's something I've loosely looked at, but I haven't given it time.
Yeah,
What do
Johnny.
you
So
reckon there? I mean,
it's been a very interesting season, hasn't it, so far? I mean, we've seen a lot of price rises this season. I've seen managers with even 108 million team value built up.
wow.
And big price rises in some of the big guys like Salah, Palmer, and a massive price tag on
Isak.
Haaland. Do you think, yeah, and Isaac, do you think the way the game is, it's been a bit trickier for managers like myself and you, but do you
Yeah.
like the way it's gone this season, even though it's not gone in our favour?
The players that have been really popular bandwagons, like you mentioned, like Salah early or Isak of late, if I got on Salah and I got on Isak, but way too late. You didn't get on Isak. I didn't get on Chris Wood. Neither did you. Like, these players have gone up massively. For managers like you and I who like to consider alternative and differential options, we've been stung. One, because the differential option hasn't always performed. For example, I went Jackson instead of Chris Wood
Oh,
5-6 weeks ago. How crazy was that? So instead of making 0.5 million in Chris Wood, I've lost 0.5 million in Jackson, and I'm way down in points. So it feels to me like it's been massively a season that benefits the template. That's often the case. The template is the template for a reason. Very good managers picking very good players. But yeah, if you've thought outside the box of speaking to, Chai, you like to do it all the time. Same here. Ali Hangarov, who's my favorite FPL manager to follow. He won FPL, but also finished 215th. But he's now had this season and last season, terrible seasons, they've not been ones to necessarily back against the obvious. So yeah, mate, our team value is probably not overly impressive.
Yeah. Just quickly to note, I'm currently on about 5 minute battery left. So if the stream does cut off, I'm so sorry, but we're after
You've
making
done
this.
well, mate.
Yeah, we're after doing well. I can't lie. So if you're after enjoying the stream, be sure to hit that like button, and hopefully it doesn't cut off. But quickly, I don't want to round up just yet, but let me just give you my thoughts going into this game week then, Gianni. So I think I am about 65% bringing in Ndi, and the other 35% rolling. I can't see myself doing any other transfer. And the armband will be on Mohamed Salah, triple captain, I believe. I can't see myself undoing it unless something crazy happens, which I can't see happening.
Yeah, well played, mate.